Dreams won't save me and you, your mama, or your cousin too. But like in a sense, a lot of us go through cognitive dissonance when our dreams don't align with who we are within our current reality. There's a disconnect and a misalignment between our actions and who we say we want to be developed because of our self-concept. And through this self-concept that we hold on a pedestal, we forget to enjoy the presence of who we are within the now. And I like to call this cognitive evolution. It's cognitive evolution because it starts with the cognitive dissonance, knowing that your desired reality is not being lived within the now because you aren't present enough to live it. And through that, there's a bunch of ways that you could go about it, but the easy resolution, which is not really a resolution, but a low effort function to help this, is assimilation. And through assimilation is where we try and use this new knowledge that we have acquired, and force it into old patterns, old beliefs, old habits, in hopes that it can create a new reality, create a new feeling that we want to feel, create a new feeling from old cycles. And that just keeps us in a never-ending loop where we are radically accepting ourselves for something that we are within the moment, but not everything that we can be. We're accepting ourselves for who we can be right now, dependent on our limitations that we place on ourselves, and not all that we can be if we just change our thinking, change the neurological pathways within ourselves. And this takes a lot of work, and this is why cognitive accommodation is so crucial. But it is only crucial and it can only be embodied through presence, because it is a more physically demanding on your brain function, because it is actively and physically changing the neural pathways and the neuroplasticity within your brain to create a new self-concept, a new self-concept, which is really your ego, but a new and developed version of yourself that doesn't do the same actions as the other person. And it's not to say that you're this whole new person, but through presence you can see and you can understand the old cycles that you were in. And now you know that you don't have to choose these, because these old cycles will not generate a new feeling. It's only going to generate the same feeling that you were already feeling, and most likely you will be unfulfilled because it's not giving you anything new. It's not supporting this new self-concept that you have. It's not supporting anything. It's not aligning with who you are, and because of that, it's causing the cognitive dissonance. And through cognitive accommodation, we're able to help ourselves through presence by presently staying aware of how we are thinking, what is perpetuating the cycle. And not to say that we cannot be affected by saying that this will never happen again, but knowing that through presence is our embodiment, and presence is the dissolver of this cognitive dissonance. It's the realignment, it's the equilibration of our equilibrium, because it's bringing us back to a balance where two opposing paradoxes of ourselves that don't align, whether it be our behaviors in our mindset, our behaviors in our self-concept, they don't align and they paradox each other. But through this equal vibration, we are able to bring each other to a balance, bring these paradoxes to a balance, and not just radically self-accepting ourselves, saying that this is who I am and you have to accept me for who I am or take me as I am, but actively making a change to develop yourself and be in progress of who you want to be and who you are actively creating yourself to be. And through it all, it's just about presence, because presence is the key to it all. Presence is the active dissolver of this cognitive dissonance, because when you're present, you're here. Your brain has no choice but to stay in the patterns of what you are doing within your day-to-day life, not what you are known to do or what you have already done in the past. No, you have to stick to what you are doing right now, right here in the now. And you are able to find peace or find balance within being here within the now, because there is nowhere else for you to be. There is no version for yourself to be other than here within the now, because everything, yes, does exist within the now, but everything can only be lived through present. You can't live your future through the through the past. You can't live your past through the future. You can only live both of these through the present, because the present is the bridge between all versions of yourself. It's a bridge between who you want to be, where you want to be, and how you can love yourself even more. And it all goes back to self-love. It always goes back to just getting to the basis of who you are, loving yourself, and also being graceful with yourself and being intentional with who you say you want to be, and actually aligning yourself. Because a lot of times we want to be this grand person. We want to be this grand person where we can receive the external things, but it's the internal that creates all the external excitement. It's the internal that creates all our external gifts. And through this, through patience, through slowing down, through stillness, through loving yourself, we can cultivate a better connection with ourselves that doesn't disconnect us from who we want to be and where we want to be, because we are exactly where we want to be, and we are connected to the old versions of ourselves within the now. Cognitive dissonance, I see it as a beauty, because it's a reminder of ourselves to come back to ourselves, to come back into balance within ourselves, to come back into who we want to be, but understand that who we want to be is already lived through within the now. It's not going to be lived when you get the life. It has to be lived from the starter, from the foundation, from where you are today, to build yourself up to where you want to be, because it's not going to be an overnight success. And if it wasn't overnight success, it would be unstable, because you wouldn't be stabilized to receive your blessings. You would be trying to grasp it, and with you trying to grasp it, it would be leaving you, because you don't know how to properly hold it. You don't know how to hold space for it. You don't know how to hold time, effort, and the connections needed to sustain what you want within your life. That's why your dreams won't save you, me and you, your mama and your cousin too, because it's not about getting your dreams. It's about living your dream life within the now. Our dreams are not just this some grandiose, far distant thing. No, they can only be lived in the now. And when we start putting emphasis on being present, when we start putting emphasis on the embodiment of presence, and not only just staying present as an action, but staying present as a devotion and reverence towards ourselves, we are able to love ourselves in a more defined way, where we can define what truly matters to us, what truly values to us, and what aligns with who we want to be. And this self-concept is all going back to the ego. And ego is not a bad thing, because we need our ego to ground us into this natural way of living, into this physical experience, so we can live our life as human beings. But don't put too much emphasis on the self-concept, because self-concepts can be paradoxical as within our human nature. It can be paradoxical because that's who we are. We are paradoxes, but it's about learning to balance these very aspects of ourselves, and not just saying, this is who I am, take me as I am, and not wanting to change. Radical self-acceptance and assimilation can be very detrimental to us, because it lacks the presence, it lacks the patience to actually develop the skills, develop yourself, and develop the neurological knowledge to actually become a better person, to change the biology of your brain chemistry, to change the biology of your brain structure, to become a new being, not just internally, but physically within your vessel. So I say this to say, just return to presence, love yourself, keep doing you, and remember that everything that you want already exists within the now. There is no separation. And this is just a reminder. You may probably already know this, and if not, I'm just a reminder for you, to help you remember yourself, because I am you, you are me, and we are all reflections of each other. And I'm just reflecting our shared consciousness onto this video. And I want to say I love you, I value you, and yeah, peace.